Assalamu alaikum. This is the afternoon time, and myself, constitutional advocate Gulrez King. The previous day, I was in the Lahore High Court. The whole day, previously, I was in the Lahore High Court observing a lot of the issues of the human beings. So, when it comes to understand that how to provide the equity to the males as well as the females groups of the individualism, especially in the Pakistan. So we have to observe these ingredients of the humans, that whether the humans are willing to provide the perfect sorts of the resolutions to their surrounding, or they are just observing the fluctuating challenges, or they are self-centered poverty subclauses concentrated inside their souls. It is a matter of fact of today that the humans, they do not have the reliable challenges of the resolutions of the human resources. So thereafter, I was bound lawfully as to observe the females overgrowth. When I said the females overgrowth population, it means there is some elements, or there are some elements leading such females into the problematic or troublesome conditional challenges. That's the way the females do not find the equity resolutions in the public sector. So due to the incremental points of the upraise or slight raise of the females population in the central divisions of the Islamic Republic of the Pakistan, especially, I'm observing that the amounts of the females have been raised to 75% of the population, and the remaining areas of the males are dependent 25% in the whole of the territorial jurisdiction of the Pakistan. So the prima facie, the factors or the on the face of record which are observed in the public sector by anyone is that due to the influx of the females populations in the urban areas from the rural areas, the challenge inside the urban areas are increasing, and such males who had produced such females in order to transport the pecuniary sources. When I said that pecuniary sources, it means that the money matters. So the females get hijacked easily when there is a point of confronting the constitutional obligations in the public sector, and such females always try to recover the balance of inconvenience and shape values of the money or etc. activities. Likewise, the tangible or intangible undue profits. Undue profits means such profits which are not mandatory for the females to be acquired or ascertained for the pointations of the males. In Pakistan, unfortunately, these are some legal precedents in customs which are confronting the souls of the females within their areas of executions of the lives, and such females want to ascertain the perfection in their lives, in these females' life, and such females want to acquire the status of the marital resolutions. So now hereafter we have to observe, this is a wide scenario depictions of the factual disobedience of the male dominant hierarchies in the public sector. There are two types of the male dominant hierarchies in the Pakistan. Number one, the male dominant anarchy. Number two, the male dominant monarchies. So when we multiply the monarchies of the male dominant societies into the male dominant anarchies, the result is the female negations of their providing to the sufficient executions of the livelihood for even a day. So meanwhile, the females wound up for evolving into the miserable situations in the public sector out of the doctrine of the necessity. So what I observed in the public sector the whole previous day during the 24th of the December year 2024, that the male, they are just considering the bread and butter, and the females are considering to provide the reconciled way of executions of the bread and butter, and meanwhile they wound up with having nothing in the end of the day, while confronting with the documentations in the public sector, while confronting with the argumentations of the public departments, while dealing with the low standard of the individualism groups of the male dominant hierarchies in the Pakistan. I'm considering comparatively the observations of the religious monarchies as well. So when it comes to understand the comparatively studies of the religious anarchies, thereafter we have to construe the basic elements of the challengeable task obligations of the females, reliable areas of thinking like critical examinations of their moralities, upgrowth or the ethical needs of the same subject of the constitutional controversial mediums in the public sector. So I'm not reading any document, I'm just doing these things by heart because I have the public exposure as well as the public experience in the public sector. That's the way I'm dealing with the online executory points of the recording of the confessional statements like this device. So we have to observe the failures of the females, that such females want to live, but such females with having the children, there are two types of the children in the globe, likewise the de facto children, the guardian ad litem children. So the 75% of the children, they do not have the de facto entitlement in the public sector, and the rest of the 25% have the enlistment of the title documentation over their certifications. From this point of angle, a lot of the males, they produce illegitimacy in the relationships. This is a new challenging positions in the public sector. The illegitimacy of the relationships always be caused in the public sector when a male who is below the belt always have the multiple series of the relationships with the females in order to evolve the proper evaluations of the task obligations of his resources to incremental incline economical appraise or growth evaluation. Therefore, such male always, or 95% of such males, commit a crime that is called the transitional marital resolution of economical obligations of non-reconciled way of thinking, like critical examination of such aftermath of such marriages in the Pakistan, in the India, in the subcontinental divisions up till now, and meanwhile execution of such marital non-obligatory task obligations which they consider to be obligatory by themselves. They produce illegitimacy of the relationships, and after that, through such illegitimacy of the relationship, a lot of the transitional Benami transactions upheld in the public sector under the Benami Transaction Act 2017, and thereby a lot of the practices which are not being called the perfect sorts of the obligations. So what I consider in the public sector, and what I think, that the males and the females, both of them, they have become zombies in order to evaluate their characteristics or their way of executions of the lives. They have become extravagant type of vagabond criminals in the public sector, and that's the way they just want to have the rights. So no one is there to provide your rights. You have to consider yourself that what you are providing to your own soul every day in order to raise your capital of the mind. It's all about the mind, neither the acts in personam or other one. So we have to consider that the human beings are not willing to get married to the females because of the responsibilities in association with such females and the liabilities incurred by the males. So this is the resultant observation of mine of constitutional obligation for the whole of the year of 2024 in the Lahore High Court. Stay blessed. Constitutional Advocate Kudais King.